The Gold Coast is alive with us in the present, but it is our history that has made the Gold Coast what it is today. This story is a look at some of the changes that have taken place on the Gold Coast over the years. There are also many of my memories of this ever-changing city. I first visited Burleigh Heads over 80 years ago. Those rock pools seem much the same as I remember them, but that skyline of the city today is so very different. At the turn of the last century, it was just known as the South Coast. There were little holiday villages at Southport, Burleigh and Coolangatta. The rest of the coast was wild and undeveloped. Myers Ferry was the only way to get from Southport across the Broadwater to the main surfing beach. Then travelling in a horse-drawn coach along the surfing beach was the only way to get to those other villages before the 1920s. It was an adventure just to reach Coolangatta. In 1925, the Jubilee Bridge was eventually built across the Broadwater. It soon was unable to cope with the increased motor traffic and was replaced by the Sundale Bridge in the 1960s. Recently, a light rail bridge was built, improving the ease of travel between Southport and those beachside suburbs to the south. In earlier times, the spit was constantly changing, with the seaway entrance slowly moving north. Once it was opposite the village of Southport. Marineland was the first theme park to be opened on the spit. SeaWorld followed in 1964. In the 1980s, the entrance to the Broadwater was locked in by rock walls, making it much safer for boating and stabilising the spit we know today. In 1903, a steam train service commenced between Brisbane and Coolangatta to provide a service for the farmers to get their produce to market. Holidaymakers soon discovered that the train was able to carry all their camping gear to the many sites at Burleigh Heads, Currumbin and Coolangatta. The motoring age began in the 1920s. Bridges were built across the Tellabudgera and Currumbin creeks, and the road was completed all the way down the coast to Coolangatta. Hundreds of cars could then spend the day picnicking by the beach at Burleigh Heads. Almost a century later, a surf carnival attracts the crowds to that same beach at Burleigh. Reedy Creek Road west of Burleigh was just a muddy track. Now it's a main road servicing the busy shopping centres and housing estates that have been built in the area. In 1947, Alec Griffiths started feeding the lorikeets in his backyard at Currumbin. Over time, it became one of the Gold Coast's most popular attractions. It was featured in the National Geographic magazine in 1956, the first worldwide promotion of the Gold Coast, encouraging overseas tourists to visit Australia. After a bad flood in 1954, it was found that the Hinds Dam on the Nerang River was unable to protect the low-lying farmland west of Broadbeach from flooding. Canals and waterways built on this fragile land did help to control the future flooding. In 2013, the third stage of the Hinds Dam was completed, controlling the river flow downstream. Today, canal living in waterfront homes is a feature of the Gold Coast. Many of the houses have a pontoon and the ability to dock their own private boat. The 1960s marked the beginning of a new era for the Gold Coast, with the construction of Lennon's on Broadbeach and the Chevron Hotel in Surfers Paradise. Many high-rise buildings soon followed. Surfers Paradise soon gained the image of becoming cosmopolitan. Cavill Avenue was once only a sandy track to the beach. Then in 1925, Jim Cavill built his first Surfers Paradise hotel on the corner. It was burnt down and rebuilt to become that well-known landmark of Surfers Paradise. Today, part of Cavill Avenue is now the pedestrian mall, leading to the famous Surfers Paradise beach. During the 1950s, Coolangatta was the place I went for those family holidays. Boarding houses along Marine Parade attracted the young holidaymakers. They spent their mornings enjoying the fun and games on Greenmount Beach. In the afternoon, maybe some roller skating on the foreshore opposite Beach House, or took in a movie at the Capitol Theatre. Today, Coolangatta is a busy commercial centre. Modern high-rise accommodation with many cafes, coffee shops and beer gardens. Those Norfolk Island pines, planted back in the 1930s, have now matured and have made Coolangatta something special. My grandmother was one of the first pupils to attend the Nerang State School when it opened back in 1875. Education was very important to those early settlers, and this continues today. World-renowned universities have now developed within the city. During the 1950s and 60s, there were scores of motels along the coast to choose from, for that overnight stop or a short stay. But over time, tastes have changed, and now they have almost gone. High-rise units are now the preferred choice. Where else but the Gold Coast will you find meter maids paying your expired parking meter? Getting a spray of suntan oil from Al Baldwin as you went to the beach for a swim. Taking part in a crazy dance with Doug Ralton.
It's hokey pokey time!
On the Greenmount Beach each morning. More than 50 years later, you could see opera on the same beach at night. In early times, the local stores were the only place to go for household provisions. Today, they have almost disappeared, replaced by huge shopping centres and giant hardware stores that have been built across the city. There is nothing you can't buy on the Gold Coast today. The Gold Coast is known for its beaches and lifestyle, but there is a new dimension, the home of the arts, Hotter. A new architect-designed outdoor auditorium has been completed, and a proposed new art gallery will rate among the best in the country. The Magic Millions, Gold Coast 600 and the Quicksilver Pro are sporting events that have attracted the crowds over many years. Fans come and enjoy the thrill of the day in the atmosphere of the Gold Coast. 2018 was a big year with the staging of the Commonwealth Games that really put the city on the world's sporting map. Surfboard riding has virtually grown up on the Gold Coast. In the early days, riding a longboard was for the few. Today, board riders from around the world challenge the waves or snapper rocks. Those beautiful surfing beaches and the relaxed lifestyle have attracted visitors to the Gold Coast for a long time. Many came for a holiday and decided to stay. In less than one lifetime, the whole region has grown into a city with over 500,000 permanent residents. My memories of those beachside villages of the past and the ever-changing city of today will always be with me. It is history that has made the Gold Coast what it is today.